Yo, 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 happy Thursday. Lucky Lefty podcast. The Onora boys are in the building. Brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And it's that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you're going to drink, by all means, make sure that you do so.
Responsibly.
Gotta drink responsibly. Left, the theme of today's show is wait and see. This is one of the most boring times for fan bases and kind of for players, right? When you hold your breath. I look over the last couple of days, Georgia has a player arrested. USC has a player arrested. And it's like, yo, you just hold your breath and hope that your squad and and the young gentlemen on your team can avoid trouble wherever they are as a fan base. So while we wait, we might as well go over our biggest issues or our biggest questions going into the spring while we wait. What was it like, Left? Like, you have classes, you don't have practice, you have strength and conditioning and classes. What is it like not having something after class is done that you can lock into like you do pretty much from the time the summer hits all the way through Christmas break and into the bowl game?
This is where you fall in love with the process. You really get in love with your craft, dive into film study, take time off. Enjoy the time that you get off. David Shaw from Stanford, the head coach that ended up taking a step away, was because he didn't have any time. And I think you do, as a player, need to enjoy the time that you have off to a certain extent. A lot of guys go 2 weeks and then get back to it, but that's more professional. But usually, as a player, you want to be able, especially in college, be able to catch up on your schoolwork. A lot of times, school takes a back seat, especially if you're starting and playing a lot of games. Uh, Back seat in a sense to what you could be doing better. So that's an opportunity to get in the classroom, get active, get better at your gaming. I know a lot of guys play the game when they get some free time, get better doing that. But more so than anything, time to relax your mind, but also uh, enough time to start getting and creating your own process, because that's the process that's going to eventually be your NFL process as a professional, but also your process and how you separate yourself going into that next phase, which is the spring and winter workouts.
So, what's the toughest part? I would assume, like you said, you don't have everything after class locking you in. So now it's left up to you on how successful and how good you want to be to lock in the film and extra work. But it has to be a little bit easier off time or off season than the time in between spring and fall camp, because that has to be tough, right? Because some guys, they decide to stay. You said that after the Music City Bowl, majority of the guys said, "Look, we're staying here for the summer because you guys really believe that you were going to be a special team coming back in 2015." And most of the guys decided to stay in between spring ball and the fall camp.
Yeah, it was. I definitely chose to take those times to work out in those moments. The anticipation from spring to fall definitely is a ramped up version, a more serious version that you're taking. But you get everybody in that football mode,
Yeah.
getting more and more ready, more and more closer. But during this time, I don't even like seeing the guys, even in my high school team right now, because one is cold. You're supposed to be playing basketball right now or something.
Mm.
You know,
Basketball, track,
yeah, you're supposed to be
something.
doing something like that.
Yeah.
Like, cold, I just saw you. I
Yeah.
just saw you. So I would appreciate to take that time and step away, because that's a time for when you can go get in that weight room,
Yeah.
especially
It's,
when you're in high school.
it's funny you say that because the University of Notre Dame campus is lit right now. Football's not playing, but you got hockey, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball team, and softball just started. right? Lacrosse is about to jump it off. The hockey team, like every other sports team, is popping on campus. It's just the football team that's kind of in the background.
Yeah, support your student athletes. This is where you build your network, your relationships with other sports, because they're supporting the football team each and every year. It's just you really want to take advantage of the time off, because when you get into the season and it's like week 8 and you about tired of it and you got a long season ahead and it's week 8, you gonna remember the time when you had off. And especially for a team like us, that we're going to be in the postseason. There's extra weeks to play, extra weeks to prepare. I was practicing with my high school team through Thanksgiving. I was tired of it, and I was championship
That
time.
was championship time.
I was like, man, I am sick of coming every day. Like, so, I'm not trying to see you when it's still cold. Give me a chance to get another season in or something. So,
Yeah.
I think those guys would appreciate it. The older guys do. Younger guys, you just excited to be a college student for a second.
Yeah.
You get workouts in the morning. So after that 2 or 3 o'clock class in the spring, what's up? You don't get too much at that time.
So like that's funny. So now it's cuddle season for the football squad. That's what you're saying.
Your little girlfriends and hanging out at the places that you can't go during the season and figuring out your friends outside of football, more importantly. And so, that's where you get a good opportunity to become more the student athlete side of things. But, it's a lot going on for a college student, especially those freshmen, like a Ben Morrison situation. You coming after a crazy season, coming in the summer. Now this is a different time frame,
Do you feel like a freshman? Because I think most fans, like once the season is over, Ben Morrison is a sophomore to us, right? Because the next time we see him on the field, he'll be a sophomore, but he's still a freshman. He's still going through his freshman year in college. So do you still feel like a freshman, even though you've gone through the gauntlet of your first football season?
Yeah, I definitely feel like you get that freshman feel to the people around you, because you really haven't seen anybody, because you've just been on one track path to the Goog, then to your classes, then back to the Goog. So taking different routes, finding different lunch spots, you're like, man, there's students here too. So you get a chance to really experience what they got to see from a field perspective, being in the stadium, and then to see you in class and get a chance to talk to you and all of that. So, you're definitely more known, but people don't know you.
Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown, all of our great content. It's because you, LL Nation, that we continue to grow. We thank you for hitting the downloads each and every day. We are the home of the misguided passion. Mm-hmm. We love it. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. I see some people in the chat talking about some of that misguided passion that other people, want to try and go the opposite direction. That's why we love, not having to kiss the ring, right? Lucky Lefty Podcast. In order to feel like, we got to have certain avenues open. Man, we just love talking Notre Dame football. We're here for the fans. So we're waiting to see how things are going to turn out for spring football. In doing so, Lef, I have 3 big questions, especially now, right? This is something. Let me play this right here. This is Jared Parker talking about what the offense and the foundation of his offense is going to be.
We are built in is we want to be built O-line driven, and we're going to be built from inside out with what we have returning up front and with our running backs and tight ends to be able to control a box. That's where it always has to start. Will we continue to find ways to attack people on the perimeter or deal with hat counts when they may be outnumbered, so to speak? Of course we will. The growth of our wide receivers and all those things are going to be critical to us this spring, this summer, and getting into fall, because we want to, like, there's no secret, no matter who it is, and I'll say the same thing in year two, like, we want to score more points than we did last year. And next year, we're going to want to score more points than we did last year. And so that's the deal. And I think, too, like, one thing I want to make sure to say before my time's done here, that we have great players and trust in our players, and I want them to feel that trust. I want them to feel empowered to grow so we can do things better week 1 to week 2, 3 to 4, so on and so forth.
For him to say we're going to be O-line driven, for me, puts tremendous emphasis on the offensive line search that is taking place right now. A name has come to the forefront. Interviewed recently in South Bend. Some reports out there that he even brought his family with him to check out South Bend. I don't know how true that is, but if he did that, that says a lot. But what does that mean? Oh, how does that manifest? We're going to be O-line driven. Does that mean we're going to run the ball 40 times a game? Does that mean our offensive line is going to set the foundation for us to be able to do whatever we want? And we can do whatever we want on the field whenever we want to do it? I'm just very interested in coming to understand how the confidence, because he talked about that as well, infusing confidence into his players and knowing, getting them to feel like, yo, we trust you. Don't worry about that. We trust you. It's going to be very interesting to see. But O-line driven for me still left a question. It still left a question. How dominant is this offensive line going to be, in your opinion, Left? Well, how dominant do you think it can be?
It definitely has a factor of whoever comes in and decides to be around these guys and coach them every day. I think the style that Harry Heaston had only promoted them to get better as the season went on. I don't know. I don't think every college football O-line coach does or has the same techniques as Harry Heaston, so it does affect it. We saw the change in when we didn't have Harry Heaston in just a few years that he wasn't there, and we had a bunch of complaints about the O-line, and we saw the effect of what an average college football O-line looked like, and we were unspoiled at that point. So the effect that Harry Heaston has definitely is a huge one, from the way he went about it and the product he got out of his players. Now with another coach, we'll see what happens. Unless we get the Michigan O-line coach, it'll be an interesting search on who we can have, not so much to maybe to fill the role, but to add something where we don't lose too much of a beat with the recruitment or the talent.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you talk about that, because being O-line driven, in my opinion, can go a multiplicity of ways. And I think Marcus Freeman has been honest, right? And I remember him talking right after he got the job and sharing some things with the media. And he talked about this, the identity of this program. Just listen to what he said. This is right after he took the job. He's talking to the media about the identity of the
I
program.
kind of told him this today in the team meeting, is that I have a vision and identity I want for our team, and that's to be a team that can run the ball and stop the run, right? I believe in our O-line and our D-line being the foundation of our team. And so I'm excited to see if that can become our identity. That's my vision. I also want to see a team that's aggressive. You know, that's one of our mantras, challenge everything. What does that mean? It means be aggressive. Do not play timid. Do not play scared. Think outside the box, offensively and defensively, schematically. Be okay with taking chances.
Left, can we have an honest conversation?
Okay.
Were the two offensive lines in the Super Bowl pretty good this year?
Pretty darn good.
Would you say Georgia's offensive line the last 2 years has been pretty good?
Pretty dominant, actually.
Huh. Michigan made it to the college football playoff. Their offensive line was pretty good, right?
Pretty dang good.
It's pretty safe to say that, Marcus Freeman wasn't reinventing the wheel when he said the identity of this team was going to be the offensive line being able to run the ball and the defensive line being able to stop the run. Like, as much as you want to put different frosting and different toppings on this cake that is college football, the actual cake is still the same flavor. If you can run the ball and you can stop the run, you win games and you win championships, right? And which is crazy because most people identify, this is the crazy thing. Most people will say that the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line is amazing, Left.
Number one in the league.
Yeah, but they say they're amazing because of their pass blocking.
Yes, because they're pass blocking.
And the Eagles were number one because of their run blocking.
Or the run stopping, pass rush.
Now, Kansas City protected Mahomes, but they also rolled up their sleeves and gashed the Eagles in the run game.
Yes, they did.
That's the difference. Like, O-line can be driven. I mean, your team can be O-line driven, but they have to be able to dominate both ways. You just can't have an O-line that can only dominate against certain opponents and in certain ways. Like, you need to smash mouth, and when you need to line up and protect and give time with just 5 and maybe the running back chipping in, you do what you have to do. For me, this might be the greatest opportunity with both your tackles and your center coming back to be able to have the most dominant line they've had probably in the last 8 years Left. I'll go back to McGlinchey and Nelson. I'll throw it up there, Left. I'll put it on the table. We're talking about questions and potential. I think this O-line has the potential to rival. Yeah. I think early on, after 4 games, Audric Estime could be a Heisman contender. He might be putting up those type of numbers.
With our O-line.
It might be putting up those type of numbers. We had the 33 truck going behind McGlinchey and Nelson.
That's right.
Hey, the 7 train. 7 train might be going behind this offensive line. So to me, the biggest question is, can this offensive line dominate based upon the potential they have? Can they dominate? And that's going to be consistent, right? We talked about Blake Fisher having potential, but having short lapses in games, missed assignments in games. It's like, okay, we need you to take that next step. We need you to be dominant, more consistent, and you need to dominate in every area. Every area. So for me, that's one big question that's still out there that I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see what this offensive line is going to be, especially with the new coach.
Yeah.
Now, with Harry gone, especially with the new coach, how dominant is this offensive line going to be? Something else that Jared Parker said in that clip, Left. Which 2 receivers are going to step up, Left? That's a huge question.
Huge question.
Look, you have a quarterback, you have an offensive line, and you got a run game. You're going to have 7, 8 in the box majority of the time. What are you going to do? Minimum. We talk about minimum requirements. If we don't have 2 wide receivers with minimum 30 receptions, something's wrong.
Something is wrong.
Minimum. And that's low balling. That's low balling, in my opinion.
Because we have Sam Hartman.
Heck, even if Tyler was the starter, I would still put that number out there. Like it's no excuse.
Oh yeah, just because we have too much talent on the roster. So at this point, you just have to look at it as, what are you going to make out of it?
Mm.
There's no more room for it. It used to be we didn't have the secondary. It used to be we didn't have the quarterback. It used to be we didn't have a back that can go 3 downs. It used to be this. It used to be that. We literally have everything you need.
So what's up?
I mean, at this point, Jared Parker's walking into, you either are celebrated or you burning the house down. There's no in between.
Yo.
We cannot feel sorry for you.
Facts.
We can. You can get all the call anybody you need. Call Maury. Call your lawyer. Call Marcus Freeman. Call Tommy, because I know you running his stuff. Call Tommy. Make sure you got it down pat, because you cannot roll out there and put up 16 points against Stanford.
No.
You cannot roll out there and put up 7 against Ohio State.
Oh, that Stanford game, bro.
You can't. It's because we are way more talented than anything Stanford can get in the next 2-3 years.
And Stanford was awful defensively this year.
It was awful last year.
Awful.
So you can't blame the quarterback, because we got 2 of them now. So one of them got to work. Can't blame no line, because we are the most experienced right now. Receivers, we so deep at receiver, any one of them could go crazy. Any one of them. Styles, Tobias, JT, Cosley, any of the freshmen.
So we had
transfers.
We had 3 receivers. 1 receiver broke the 30 mark. That was Lorenzo Styles Jr.
And
Jayden Thomas had 20. Jayden Thomas had 25. Braden Lindsay had 24. I fully expect Jayden Thomas to catch more than 25 balls.
Way more.
Yeah, so
the ball needs to be in the air.
Let's raise that requirement to 40. We need 2 receivers over 40 receptions.
I wouldn't even mind if it was a 60-40 throw passing this year. If we was catching fire, if in a perfect.
Well, hold on. That's the LL question of the day. We have to let that sit. LL Nation, how are you feeling about that? Would you be cool with 60-40 pass versus run ratio for Notre Dame this season?
If it means winning a championship.
No. Forget the outcome. This is preseason. This is wait and see. So right now, today, are you cool with that? Are you cool with that 60-40 pass versus, and why? Is it because of Sam Hartman? Is that the main reason?
I think.
Go ahead, Left.
I think we should be using our run like KD takes his shots. KD doesn't need a ton of shots to get 30, 40 points.
Facts.
But the shots he's taking, he's hitting them things. So when we run the ball, we running at 7-8 yards a clip.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when we are trying to get our shots in. But when we're offensively minded, we getting the ball to our playmakers. We throwing the rock around. We throwing screens, throwing bubbles, RPOs, throwing routes downfield, play action downfield, because we would really be nice, because then how would teams game plan? You're gonna lean on the run. We're not running enough to lean on it. But when we do, we hitting the head, because we got Archie Gaston, we got Logan Diggs, got Jadarian ripping off 8-9 yard runs in the midst of Sam Hartman getting 300 a game, or Tyler Buckner getting 270, 260 a game. Because we got so many receivers at this point that I'm kind of excited to see the different combinations. What's the starting 4 rolling out there? Because you can mix match them. They can all play inside, outside damn near. If Jared Parker came out 60-40, then I would say, okay, that's something different.
Lucky Lefty podcast. Someone asked for the ratio from last year for context. So let me do some addition right here. 532 rushing attempts. That's crazy. 338 passes. Oh man. Oh my God. They ran the ball 62% of the time last
We
year.
said that. We said that. What we say last year?
62% of the time. I threw the ball 38% of the time.
What did we say last year? What we say?
So you're saying they need to flip that this year?
We need to flip it.
Most of the people in the chat, look.
I bet you Bama flipped it. That's why they in the championship. That's how Devontae Smith got his Heisman. So
they ran the ball pretty much 40 times a game, bro. That's a lot. That's a lot of rush attempts. I don't foresee that with the two quarterbacks that they have. I just don't.
Why not?
And you're right, Coach Vic. 80% of that 38% went to Michael Mayer.
Exactly. And we said that too. We said Michael Mayer is going to be 30% of that. But we should see this. Is why we need a side producer that can pull up our clips of when we were throwing out these numbers at the beginning of the season last year. Because we said it's going to be 60-40 handoff pass. And then of the 60, what was it? 70% was Michael Mayer and Lorenzo or something we said. And then the other 30, we're going to have to find out.
Yeah. Now, see, Doma Wop has an interesting take here. Thank you, Doma Wop. Let the talent dictate the ratio.
See, the only reason why I wouldn't say that is because I don't know if Jared Parker can identify that and call an offense around it. I think that's where you have to have your own offense, because in your own offense, you know how to get what you want by putting the players that you need to put there. And that's how you adapt. If you have nothing to adapt and you going off of somebody else's stuff, it's just going to be a learning process.
I can see that. Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown, all of our great content. We appreciate your 5 stars. Leave it for us. Appreciate all your comments. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. Cajun Irish said he is cool with 55-45. Depends on how good the defense will be.
I think we will be better suited if we were worrying about being the top 5 scoring offense.
You keep going back to that. Like you needed Jared Parker.
That is the ultimate signifier that, one, we've made steps to get better, and two, that we've activated our receiver group, because we can't be a top 5 scoring offense running the football. We got to be able to throw it. And to have Sam Hartman be who he is, along with Tyler Buckner coming along with the receiver group we have, with the effective KD type scoring and effectiveness and efficiency from the run game that we can have, it's set up for a Heisman quarterback to go in there and do the damn thing. It's set up. Just imagine if we had a Deshaun Watson right now, and he got this run game, and he got all these receivers, and he got an O-line, and he got a defense with a defensive-minded coach that's going to let him do it. That's set up. And you got 3 of the best games of college football next year that you can have from an opponent's side to get you into the Heisman race. You got the former Heisman, the last year's Heisman. You got Ohio State, that's a playoff team, and you got Clemson, that got something for you at their place. So you can win at Clemson, beat Ohio State at home, and then beat USC with the last year Heisman. That's a season set up for a Heisman quarterback. You on mute.
Going back to the wide receiver question, I got Crazy Boy tapped in and said he thinks Collie and Tobias will be the two to step forward. I got Brian Van Gordis Burner says Tobias and Great House. It's a lot of Tobias love. Josh Buffo, the motivational business banker, says Jaden Thomas and Tobias.
Maybe Caleb Smith is in there somewhere.
I mean, you did bring him over for his leadership. So
we're going to see how Marcus Freeman does transfers,
Man, look, it's going to be very interesting to see this third question left. How will Tyler Buckner be used by Jared Parker? How would Tyler Buckner be used by Jared Parker?
Fortunately, we'll see packages if Jared Parker is using all the talent we got on the team offensively. It'll be packages, but Sam Hartman should be the starter. And I think that's a good way to start out the season. And then, who knows from there. But those packages should include some RPOs, some quarterback runs. It just would come down to when are you calling on the package and when are you needing it. Maybe Tyler Buckner's a red zone guy. Who knows?
Man, this is an interesting question. Anthony Solomon says every big game lately, Notre Dame has been underwhelming at the quarterback position.
Not when I played.
Deshaun might big game. Brandon. No, I take that back. Ian had a big game against Clemson in 20.
He did.
Ian had a big game against Clemson in 20.
But the caveat was that was DJ Uangale's game.
Yeah, DJ did have a better game.
And he was the better Ian is the better quarterback, but that was DJ's first big experience. So it's like, yeah, Ian was the big time for that game. But when it really, really mattered against Clemson in both playoff situations,
That's interesting. So we'll go over our wait and see defensive biggest questions tomorrow. That should be interesting as well. Lucky Lefty podcast. We waited a while to see the final season of Snowfall. First two episodes dropped last night, Left.
That's right.
Before we transition, what was your overall takeaway?
Franklin out here moving and shaking now. You better be careful. Louis and they playing behind the eight ball a little bit. Louis and Jerome, but Jerome is not understanding that Franklin's absolutely right. He done let Louis get him deep in, and because it's his wife, he sticking, he trying to ride for her, but she doing wrong. And she shouldn't have stole from him. She shouldn't have stole the plug. She shouldn't have tried to shoot old buddy. Now Franklin like, and I gotta rob you. You know what I mean? Now I gotta tell on you. You know what I'm saying? So come on now. Come on, Louis. But they played it off. Leon moving to Africa
with Shorty. Gail Bean, by the way, is a fantastic actress.
Great actress.
She's a fantastic. She's amazing in multiple shows. Absolutely,
man, she is. but I still can't trust Franklin's girl. I just have no idea. And then they introduced Franklin.
Now they introduced her mother. That's even more tricky.
Even
That's
worse.
even more tricky.
But then Franklin's mom messing stuff up too now. She's so filled with rage. She done got this guy who I don't know if he's good or bad. Who knows?
I don't even believe he's KGB.
I think he just some one-off that can mess up everything, you know. But in hindsight, I do think it's good that Franklin got a tail on everybody.
Facts.
He got a tail on Teddy. He ain't letting that slide.
Nope.
He got a tail on Jerome and Louis. He ain't letting that slide. He getting his money back.
Kane is gonna be a problem though.
Kane gonna be a huge, but it's gonna only be a problem if. And then they got the CCC. The other thing Louis messed up on was getting that cop.
Yeah, put on suspension.
The cop really is a thorn in a lot of people's side, and they did old girl wrong.
Yo, I'll say this. Let me
Jerome.
give you some things that stood out for me. Jerome absolutely slapped the fire out of Franklin twice.
He did. What does he expect? Franklin said, "I gotta do something.
Yo, that was crazy. Number two, man, what's up with Scully, man? This guy Scully is always on something different.
See, Scully had his life changed. That's why he had more origamis. He had the whole house full of them.
That cat Scully told him, "Get your family right, or that karma's gonna come for you."
It's gonna come for you.
And last but not least, yo, this is about to come to, in my opinion, a tragic end. I was like, dude, this is going to be tragic. First of all, Jerome, the fact that he I couldn't believe he beat her like that. I couldn't. You got the bag, you got the money.
What could he? But he has to do something. He already got charged up by his girl.
That's the problem. Charged up. You know, we all know. Maybe some of us have experienced it as youngsters. You get charged up by your girl.
Yeah, your girl's not putting.
There you go. There you go. Unfortunately, I had one rule. I'm not fighting over anybody, especially not a man. When I was younger, like, no, I'm never fighting over anybody. Lucky Lefty podcast. As we get ready to transition, we're going to talk about the name that has come to the top of the heap for the offensive line hire at Notre Dame. And then I'm going to ask Left this or that. We're going to play a little this or that coming up on the Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know. Home of the misguided passion. We spin it different. Hey, Left. You remember that song, right? Black Sheep. This or that. Engine number 9 on the New York exit line. If my train goes off the track, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Yo, what's the one song from back in the day? As soon as you hear it, you still like, man.
Life's and then you.
Okay.
You know that.
Okay, because you never know when you're gonna go. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he can't. Because he don't. That's the only song Nas just wasn't ready for.
Right. I can figure that.
He was going in.
Now this one is not that far back, but man, as soon as it comes on, I'm like, yo, and I'm kind of ashamed that it makes me bob my head the way it does. Dude, when that blow the whistle drops, dude. when that beat drops,
you get to old, Shaun.
I'm like, yo.
You gotta let some of them songs live where they was made, the year they was made in.
Yo. Man, look, and blow the whistle. I've seen blow the whistle played at just about every single type of event you can imagine, with every age group bobbing their head to it. Shout out to Short. Shout out to Short, man.
That's right.
Apple Podcast, Spotify, CNB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. All of our great content. Leave 5 stars. We appreciate you. Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. So we're talking this or that. Left. Would you rather lose to, or I'll say it like this. We both agree that Notre Dame at least has to take 2 out of 3 in their 3 biggest games. What combination would you need or would you like to see out of the 3? That's how we started this or that off. Of course, we know people in the chat say they want all 3. But if you took 2 out of 3 to go to 11-1.
Ohio State and SC.
You want Ohio State and SC.
Easy.
Okay. Okay, so that means you lose the Clemson later.
We can take that. We can take that. We need to beat the Heisman, and we need to beat Ohio State.
What if Ohio State really isn't that good, bro?
Then we need to beat them early to let people know they're not that good. All right, everybody can calm down. You done slayed the dragon early. Let's get them up out of here fast, for sure.
Let's get these bums up out of here.
Get them up out of the conversation. I don't want to see no coming up the charts. No. They're bums.
We told you they were trash.
Yeah. Get Ryan Day on the hot seat. Turn that seat heat up. Put the, how you get that Cadillac, got them seat warmers. Put that thing on the 3 buttons. Put it on the 3 knobs. Make the thing hot.
Beat them so bad, we had that cat Jim Harbaugh looking like Birdman behind the door, like wait until they get to Ann Arbor.
Wait till we get them up there and put them in the oven. Put them
like
in the oven.
Like Notre Dame just ran for like 250 on them.
Oh
man!
And then Illini gonna get them up over there in Illini land.
Don't do that to me, Left. Don't do that to me. Don't play with my emotions like that.
We're gonna beat them early.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
We're gonna beat them early, and we're gonna put that tape out there. That's what you gotta do.
Don't do that. This or that.
I got a nice running game. Look, I'm telling you.
This or that. Looking at the schedule. Now, I'm glad that's a perfect segue because my Illini on the hardwood face off tonight in a very critical game in the Big Ten conference standings as they face the second place, wait for it. As they face the second place, wait for it, Left. It's almost March, wait for it. As they face the second place, Northwestern Wildcats, Left. Wait a minute. Right. Look at that. Look at your face. Look at your face. This is true. My Illini tonight have a huge game.
It's set up nice
against the second place Northwestern Wildcats in the Big Ten.
So I ask you, don't blow this putt. Don't blow this 4-foot putt now.
Yo, this is one of those games that if you had told me that this would be the story going into this game, just 3 weeks before the March Madness is set to begin, I would have told you are out of your mind. Like, stop lying. But here we are. Tell me the game on the Notre Dame schedule that we're going to have the same feeling about. That before the season, you're like, there's no way this is the narrative before this game. But somehow, some way, teams always sneak up on you.
I think it'd be a Pitt.
You think Pitt's that squad? Okay.
They just a tough team. And,
I see what you're doing.
physicality
see
is.
what you're doing. I
You
see
know,
what you're doing with the Notre Dame connection at quarterback. I see what you're doing. Go ahead.
yeah, I think if everything lines up, it'll be a tough game just because of where it lays in the schedule, and that'll be and because of that, where our physicality and identity is as an offense and as a team,
Mhm.
uh, throwing the football. I think they just present a tough defense structurally to
Mhm.
where we're going to have to see if we got some passing that can make it happen. They got a good head coach, and they've been pretty successful the last couple years, um, on and off. But they produce some good players, and I think if we can get over that, we can make a run for sure.
This or that. Notre Dame can have a top 5 offense, or they can have a top 5 defense.
I'd have a top five offense.
Okay.
Defensively, I think we'll be good enough to keep us in every game. Offensively, we need to score points to win this championship.
I can see that. D Rock Irish, he taps in. What's up, D Rock? Said the early line is 8.5 dogs to Ohio State and 3-point dogs to USC. Yeah, give me that 8.5 right now. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that's going to go up over the summer. The same way it went up over the summer last year prior to the first game. So I would catch it. I would wait for that bad fella to hit double digits, get up to about 11, maybe 10.5, and I would snag it right then. Would absolutely snag that Ohio State game. The USC game at 3-point dogs, middle of the season, Notre Dame will probably be highly ranked. That number might come down just a little bit. Just a little bit. We're playing this or that right here, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Oh, man. This or that. Notre Dame blocks 6 touchdowns. Block 6 punts, or they have 6 returns for touchdowns in the kick and punt.
6 returns, if we can do that, that's something. That's a hell of a season. You do that.
3 in punt, 3 on kickoff.
Mm.
You would rather have that than the punt blocks.
Oh yeah, we'll make national news 6 returns.
This or that. Aldrich Estime as your leading rusher, or Logan Diggs as your leading rusher?
I would like to see Aldrich, but if we're doing 60-40 pass run, then both of them should be pretty explosive this season.
This or that. Cam Hart with 6 interceptions, or Benjamin Morrison with 6 interceptions?
Hopefully Cam, because if he's coming back for a 5th year, you better have 6 interceptions. If you're trying to get drafted, you know what I mean?
What would that say? Like, would the defense be more effective with people not throwing at Morrison, testing Cam and him coming away with the interceptions? Or would it be better if people still tested Morrison and he came away with those picks?
I think they're both going to get some action, probably Cam a little earlier. But, from the teams we're playing, we're going to get some action regardless. So his opportunity is going to be out there for Cam to really step his game up and make it hard. I want to see what team isn't ready to face us. So we'll see what happens.
Total sacks on the season for the Notre Dame defensive line, will it be closer to 30 or closer to 20? This or that.
More times sacks.
Total sacks, defensive line, closer to 30 or closer to 20?
Probably closer to 20.
Hmm.
I think our linebackers will make more of a.
Oh, you're thinking about blitzes and, Ramon Henderson coming on his blitzes. The line, well, Al Golden is definitely going to fire the linebackers. That's what he does.
Yeah.
All the time.
That creativeness defensively, I think we'll be able to probably have more success from our linebacker. I think we put a lot of effort behind recruiting it as well as being able to get guys that are talented enough to play the run and in space. So I think we have all those opportunities.
More pancakes. Blake Fisher, Joe Alt.
Hopefully, Blake Fisher, man. I remember as a freshman, everybody was excited that he was the next Q. I think it'd be a great draft season for him to have that moniker that he's out there laying folks out.
I like that. That's this or that right here. We'll probably play it again sometime in a couple of weeks. Lucky Lefty podcast. Left, as I said before, Northwestern is second in the Big Ten Conference, man. That's one of the biggest surprises I've seen in a long time when it comes to basketball. Shout out to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish once again blowing a late game lead to North Carolina last night, though. It's been a painful year. It's been a painful year. Have you been shocked? I think the Florida Gators recently, I believe they've lost 5 assistant coaches to the NFL or other schools this offseason. Kerry Colbert just left their staff to take an NFL job yesterday. Are you shocked by the movement in college football when it comes to coaches?
Well, it's definitely more volatile than it has been before. I think the media needs to speak more about it. I think it's definitely just as bad, if not worse, than players transferring schools. I think there's just more players than there are coaches doing it. However, the way that the coaches are going about it is way more scandalous and conniving than players leaving for their own reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But it just shows that the college football is truly a business, and that now more money with these TV deals and apparel deals and schools joining conferences and making super conferences and the playoffs and all those things included, with the money being more injected into this to make it even more of a business. You know, it's no different than the professional leagues. It's just called a different name. So the money's flowing. So, you know, these coaches are going to be chasing it. No different than these NIL deals that are out there, except the media spends it differently. So if it was all fair in the media, it'd be just as bad speaking about coaches leaving and coaches taking the money and coaches doing things to make different moves, just like the players. So probably make it more entertaining, but you know they try to keep a certain level of professionalism in an amateur sport.
Yeah, I remember talking with Coach Burris the other night, and he said he's almost to a point where he's getting too old, and he started to think about how much longer he wants to coach, because at this point he's doing it for the kids.
Yeah, you because it's too old from the sense that there's not a lot of stability in it as much as you would like it to be, because there's so much more involved, from the traveling to the volatile coaching staffs being in and out. So you damn near can't even have a family anymore if you're an up and coming coach, because of the potential moves that you'll have to make as often, staff, fickle as they may be, or you know, you hope you get lucky and land at a place where you can be there for a little bit, making a good enough money, but then you're too good, you're gonna get elevated in some way. So, you know, it's just an interesting process. We're seeing Marcus Freeman go through a process like that. He was at Cincinnati for a couple years at Purdue, and now you at Notre Dame. And in your second year, you probably going through a lot of stress, being like, damn, it's my second year, feeling like my fifth.
Facts.
So I would like to be here 5 years, but the way things been going so crazy in the first 2, I'm just trying to win games at this point. So, you know, with that in mind, I already know it's just tough on coaches for anyway.
Yo, you keep hitting the mic with something. I don't know if you're brushing across it with the movement. Lucky Lefty podcast. Either way, it's a great podcast. We're almost done. Getting ready to get out of here. Thanks for everybody for tapping in today. I don't know if you saw this, Left, but it's unfortunate that the Bears continue to be at the top of the sports news. I should have thrown this into this and that, dude. But with news of quarterback movement and everything, someone actually approached Caleb Williams, Left. And they asked him, like, man, what team do you want to play for? Caleb being Caleb, he didn't give you the, the GC answer. Like, man, whatever team drafts me, I'll be happy. He let the NFL team know. Start making a way for me.
The Cowboys, hopefully.
No, that's not the team he said. I'll give you three. I'll give you another opportunity.
The Cowboys. Damn, I can't see him go nowhere else other than the Cowboys. The Dolphins.
Bingo. That was his squad.
Oh, the Dolphins?
The Dolphins.
Yeah, there you go.
He let it be known, like, hey, that's where I want to be. He was like, man, Tyreek Hill, all the while with Waddle, the running game, offensive line, and the defense is good. And Caleb Williams fits Miami. Let's just keep it a buck. Like, he fits the Miami lifestyle.
You see how he comes to the games?
Yes, he definitely fits the Miami lifestyle, right? Unfortunately, based upon records, who would be terrible next year? If I were the Rams, I would definitely tank. If I was Sean McVay and I knew Matt Stafford was on his way out, I'm tanking. Without a doubt. I would tell Aaron Donald to take the year off. Just collect your check. Collect your check, big boy. Don't even.
Yeah, he didn't even come to facility this last year.
Man, if I'm the Panthers, I'm tanking. If I'm the Raiders, I'm definitely thinking about tanking. It's very interesting how this could play out, bro. It's very interesting. Do you think that's a trend? Now, do you think Caleb is about to set a trend where quarterbacks are going to start saying where they want to go, like NBA players? This is different. We've never seen a college player say, yo, that's the team I want to go to. Right there.
Yeah, if he won the Heisman. If you win the Heisman, you should say all of that.
Yeah. Because I can't see now. I wish CJ Stroud and Bryce Young could be as transparent and flat out say, hey, this is where I want to go. I wish Bryce would just flat out say, I definitely don't want to go to the Texans.
Oh, my goodness.
That's the type of stuff John Elway, thank you, Coach Vic. John Elway was like, look, y'all, man, I'm going to play baseball. I'm going to play with the Yankees. You can pick me if you want to. I'm going to play for the Yankees. I'm not playing for the Colts. It's not happening. Eli Manning said, I'm not playing for the Chargers. Send me to New York. Hey, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. So we always talk about, the feedback we get from the shows, man, as we get ready to get out of here. People had a big problem left. They had a big problem with me yesterday. I threw a little shade at Indianapolis. When I said Indianapolis was good for Final Fours and the Combine, but I didn't think Indianapolis was a great city for a Super Bowl, to host a Super Bowl week. They got on me a little bit, Left.
They got some. I'm telling you, Indiana's not a bad. In fact, it's the number one place in the world to take children.
Have you ever been to St. Elmo's? That restaurant, the steakhouse?
I haven't been there.
It's supposed to be like fantastic. Most people say go when the combine is there, and you're going to run into just about every athlete, owner, general manager, agent, because it's booked up months in advance during that week. So I don't know. So we are about to launch a website. It's going to be up in the month of March. We're going to do a big launch, and we're going to start releasing apparel leading up to the blue and gold game. We're going to have our first official blue and gold t-shirt. That's going to be dope. We'd also like to announce that we're going to start launching shows. Lucky Lefty podcast, Bear Down, is going to start next week. We're looking to start Lucky Lefty in different cities. So if you are a content creator and you would like to be on air talking about your favorite NFL team, we would love to have you on the team. You can email us. Let me put the email. Let me put my email here in the chat. I'll put that in the chat. Email us there if you would like to have a Lucky Lefty podcast, whatever your team is. So I'm starting the Bear Down podcast next week. It should be pretty fun. We're expanding,
Let's
Left.
get it.
We're expanding. We're doing big things. It's all because of your support, man. Look, Left could literally just do a Lucky Lefty podcast, California recruiting. Just period. Because
Seriously? No, seriously.
there's so much talent, and the state is so big.
It's going crazy right now. I mean, this football season with 7-on-7 is turned
Okay.
up.
See, this is what we need. We need feedback. I love this, Left. Shout out to you, Raphael Caldwell. He said, please do a spin it different hat. I need to wear it on the golf course. We never talked about doing golf hats, Left.
See, the ideas is coming with the marketplace. I'm telling you.
Okay.
We're going to turn into Dick's Sporting Goods before it's
Hey,
over.
spin it different does apply to golf.
That's right.
Okay. All right, Raphael. Coach. That's funny, Left. That's funny. Are you gonna do a Jaguars show, bro? You gonna do a Jaguars post game show during this?
Oh man, that's a distress show right there. A lot of sad fans, traumatized fans on that one. We'll think of something.
Oh man. Beer pong tables? Left. You want to do the Lucky Lefty cups, the plastic cups?
Yeah, we could do that.
I guess they can use those for beer pong. We'll get to it. Left, I think your Jaguar show would be fantastic. You can have Jimmy Smith on, Keenan McCardell,
Telling you.
David Garrard, all the guys that made you fall in love with the squad.
Brian Leftwich. Then I could talk about that ND situation. Telling you.
You know what time it is.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
and fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic Petty Junction?
Petty Junction, pettiest stories of the day, brought to you by Onora Whiskey at NoraWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, NoraWhiskey.com. You got anybody for the petty train today, love?
Man, the petty train's always full, but
I'm throwing Louis on
I saw
petty train, bro.
Wait, what'd you say?
Louis from Snowfall, dude.
Oh yeah, she's petty because then she talking about he pulled a gun on me. I just
Right. Let me
just
tell. I want you to know the full truth of what happened. Like you're doing too much right now. You're
Too
leaving
much.
out what you did. Like
leaving it out. Leaving it out. Don't
mad
like
petty.
that they arrested a guy for eating a bag of chips from the guy that stole the chips in Memphis. Guy got arrested for eating a bag of chips that the guy that robbed the store dropped, and they arrested him. Crazy. 2 bags. Should have just
Wait a
left
minute.
it.
Wait a minute. Left. So that's a Memphis police arrested a man for allegedly eating 2 bags of chips that were dropped by someone who stole them from a
Robbed the
convenience
store.
store. According to reports, a man attempted to purchase beer at a convenience store, got into an argument with the clerk who refused to sell the alcohol to him. Rather than walk out with the beer, the man grabbed an entire display of potato chips and walked out the store before putting the display into his car and driving off. As the man walked to his car with the chips, several bags, I'm sorry about that, several bags fell to the ground, and the man picked them up, picked 2 of them up, and ate them. Left. Crazy story. He was arrested. Now wait, left. Wait. Like, I'm just saying, it's fair game at that point.
It's fair game. I mean, what
It's
you
fair
want to
game at
do?
that point, man. Like, if you want to be GC and walk the chips back into the station and say, "Here you go," man, it's fine. But man, let me tell you something. Somebody dropped some chips as they put them in. I don't know
Oh,
that they're
no.
stolen.
How do I know that? I just see him on the ground.
Maybe you should have said, "Mister, you dropped the chips," and the
Yeah.
guy would have been like, "Man, you cool. Go ahead." That's
Get
mad petty.
help.
That's mad petty. Yeah, that's mad petty. For definitely for arresting that dude. Oh man, I'm getting ready to go prepare me a nice lunch, some nice soup, and I'm about to watch
Oh yeah.
Bel Air that launched today, season 2.
Mm.
About to get on it.
If season 1 was good,
Season 1 of Bel Air was very good because it was
Yeah.
very true to the story. I
Got
liked it. Coco Jones is phenomenal
Mm.
as Hillary. She's phenomenal. The storyline surrounding what was the baby girl's name? I forget her name. But yeah, everything was pretty much spot on with the original story. And Hillary's storyline was pretty much made more modern. They kept her the same way, more modern. And I'm a huge Coco fan. And yeah, Will and Carlton still have that same type of relationship. So yeah, you'll enjoy it, bro.
Here we go.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. Someone else said Outer Banks season 3 drops today.
Yeah, I saw the Outer Banks on Netflix. Is it that good or what?
Brian Loftus, is it that good? We'll see, man. What also something else? Oh, Chris Rock's comedy special, the tour he just came off of, dropped on Netflix. So I think I'm going to check that out as well.
Chris Rock's on. Oh, his new thing's on there.
Yeah. Patrick Hennessy said he wants to put somebody on a petty train. We have the lady who committed a felony but doesn't think she should go to jail because she's pregnant and the baby did nothing wrong.
Interesting.
Very interesting. And before we go, Matt Luke at the top of the O-line coach hire walked away from the game as the O-line coach is Georgia, wanted to spend time with his family. obviously interested in the position. Notre Dame is very high on him. Notre Dame is continuing the search and reportedly will have more people on campus over the weekend heading into Monday. So they've learned their lesson. They're not about to just bring a guy in and just sport him around, take pictures. And they've learned their lesson. And now they move on. We saw people in the chat say that him and his family were going around looking for homes, looking at the schools. He has an 11 and 15-year-old, very interested in baseball. So they were checking out South Bend and everything that's connected with the job. So we'll see how it goes. But Matt Luke, I'm all for him being the O-line coach, Left. That would be a really good hire. Really good hire. For Left, I'm Shaun Davis. Bid you adieu until we come back tomorrow for the Culture Friday. You know it's going to be lit. You already know. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Have a great Thursday, but most of all, make sure that you spin it different.